Now, from the news team that's covering the Carolinas, this is Channel 9 Eyewitness News at 10.
Rain, mist, and drizzle continue to be the theme, and tonight we're tracking even more rain on the way. Good evening, everyone. I'm Erica Bryant. Our team of meteorologists using the area's most powerful weather technology to pinpoint which neighborhoods will see the most rain. We go to Chief Meteorologist Steve Udelson in the Severe Weather Center with what you can expect for the start of your day tomorrow. Steve?
All right, Erica, as you said, again, the rule tonight is light rain and drizzle, tracking more across southern Cabarrus into Union County, pretty much along Highway 601, pushing to the west on into Mecklenburg County. And again, it is spotty, but those neighborhoods that continue to see the rain will continue to do so overnight tonight. Moisture coming in off the Atlantic, moisture surging north out of the Gulf. That's what's going to keep us in the soup, not only tonight, but into the day tomorrow. Futurecast suggests just periods of light rain, and where it's not raining, we'll see drizzle. And oh yeah, there's that fog as well, which has not been an issue so far tonight. Visibilities are relatively high. Fog is fairly light, but it will thicken up some overnight tonight. Futurecast clicking away the visibilities. At about a mile, you tend to run into problems on the road, and you can see some areas, especially north and east of Charlotte. We will see visibilities that low. Please be extra careful early tomorrow morning, especially as the kids are out at the bus stop. Upper 60s at 6 a.m., only about 70 by 8, so not much of a rise tomorrow. I'll show you how much longer this pattern lasts.
Thank you, Stephen. We will track that rain overnight and have your complete forecast tomorrow morning on Daybreak starting at 4:30 a.m. on Channel 9. We're staying on top of a developing story tonight in Charlotte. This is video from Chopper 9 of a major crash that happened just hours ago involving that CATS bus. One person was killed in that accident and more than a dozen others injured. We first brought this to you as breaking news earlier at 5. The scene of the crash was cleared just a few hours ago. And Eyewitness News reporter Jenna Deary is out there live. And Jenna, you've been working to learn more about what exactly caused this.
Erica, we've been trying to get information all night about what happened and how the injured are doing now. We're still waiting to hear from CMPD, but CATS officials tell us that the investigation will be thorough, considering a life was lost after a crash right there on that bridge. Investigators paced the scene on cell phones as officers blocked off city streets in the middle of rush hour. Chopper 9 Sky Zoom shows you that's while a CATS bus sat sandwiched between this truck, smashed in the 3rd Street Bridge, and a small silver car wrecked against the bus's driver's side. The driver of that car told us the truck's driver ran a red light, crossing over 3rd Street, causing the bus going through a green light to T-bone the truck while she was driving her car next to the bus. The collision caused the bus to ricochet off the truck into her sedan. Dash cam video from the bus's cameras has been turned over to police. It may give more detail on what happened. Police would not release information on the scene, but we were told 17 patients were taken to the hospital from this crash. One person died. Investigators haven't said who that person is or given any information about what happened. CMPD will investigate the crash while CATS does an internal investigation to replay the seconds leading up to this crash and learn whether it could have ended differently. And we're also waiting to find out how that bus driver is doing tonight. I was told that driver will undergo a drug and alcohol test. It's standard protocol whenever a driver is involved in an accident. I was also told that depending on how this investigation turns out, we'll determine when that driver goes back to work. Live in Elizabeth, Jenna Deary, Channel 9 Eyewitness News at 10.
And we will follow this developing story overnight and post any updates on WSOC-TV.com. New at 10, a former Richmond County Sheriff's deputy is charged in Anson County, accused of sex crimes with a child. 22-year-old Dylan Cox is charged with 2 counts of indecent liberties and 4 counts of statutory rape. The Richmond County Sheriff's Office says the alleged crimes all took place before Cox worked for the Sheriff's Office and that he resigned when the allegations came to light. New at 10, police are investigating a reported sexual assault on the campus of North Carolina A&T State University. Students say they received a campus alert on their phones early Sunday morning about the incident. The university says this happened at Aggie Suites, which has security checking students coming in and out, leaving many wondering how this could have happened.
Is it a student? Is it somebody that was just on campus? How did they get, how did they get in? Like, what's going on? No one knows.
A person of interest has been identified, but so far no arrests. University officials say it appears to be an isolated incident. Local agencies that work with human trafficking victims say a move by the FBI to add it to the crime's annual report will help to gain attention. The FBI has given human trafficking its own category in the 2014 crime report. It shows 2 cases reported here in Charlotte in the last year, and groups that work with victims say it'll focus more attention on the problem and help find solutions. New at 10, Charlotte City Council approved a grant to help clear a major backlog of sex assault cases. Right now, 885 sex assault kits sit in the CMPD evidence room awaiting processing. $500,000 from New York County District Attorney's Office will now speed up efforts to solve those cases. A former Richmond County funeral director won't go to prison after he took money from mourning families, then handed them the wrong cremated remains. Channel 9 had the only camera in court today for Laryl Russell's sentencing. Russell purposely gave the family of Betsy Marsh the wrong cremated ashes after they paid for him to cremate her in 2013. Relatives say they recently learned that Russell put Marsh's remains in a trash bag and then dumped them near a cemetery.
I guess for me, it's just heartbreaking thing that happened. But for me to forgive myself, I guess I would have to forgive him for what he done.
A judge sentenced Larry Russell to 3 years probation and ordered him to pay the North Carolina Funeral Board. New tonight, police in Gastonia arrested a man they say tried to buy meth near a police barricade. You can see in the shot investigators outside the Gaston Inn on Franklin Boulevard this afternoon. They were responding to reports of a meth lab there when they say a man tried to get past the tape to buy drugs. We're asking police for more information and whether anyone else faces charges. The federal witness who says the Justice Department stiffed him on airfare has gotten reimbursed. The feds were going to have Leonard Campagna testify in an identity theft case, but the defendant suddenly pleaded guilty and the feds refused to pick up the nearly $700 tab for Campagna's flight. Action 9's Jason Stujenki contacted the DOJ and Campagna now has his check. New at 10, a bill designed to ban the sale of fetal tissue is heading to the desk of Governor Pat McCrory. It also prohibits state agencies from contracting pregnancy prevention services with any organization that provides abortion. Lawmakers are rushing to consider several bills as they wrap up a contentious legislative session.
Do bills get full consideration when they're pushed through at this late hour?
It depends. Many do, some don't.
In the next 24 hours, lawmakers could vote on charter schools, regulatory reform, and dozens of other bills, including one on immigration that prompted some protests from the NAACP today. The session was supposed to end in June. The cost to taxpayers for the extended session is about $2.5 million. Following a developing story tonight as several current and former Charlotte-Mecklenburg school students are under investigation for alleged exploitation of a minor. Police say the victim in the case is just 15 years old. And Eyewitness News reporter Alexa Ashwell is live outside CMPD with more on the investigation. Alexa?
Now, Erica, these are very serious allegations involving minors. That's why CMPD said it's being so tight-lipped about the investigation, but it's also why parents at Butler High School are so upset and say they want answers. It was during this Butler High School football game this past Friday that parents said they first heard about very troubling accusations involving a 15-year-old and some players on the team. Tonight I spoke with one mother by phone.
Parents were talking during the football game that a certain number of players weren't there, that they had been suspended.
Parents said the accusation swirling around the Butler High School community is that the 15-year-old was involved in a sexual act with others, and it was recorded and then distributed. Channel 9 received that same information on September 24th, days after the alleged incident occurred. It was then that we reached out to CMS and to police. Today, the district referred Channel 9 to CMPD. saying the alleged incident didn't occur on a CMS campus, adding, quote, any student disciplinary action is part of a student record and not available for disclosure as per Federal Student Privacy Act. CMPD confirmed they're investigating the alleged exploitation of a minor in a release saying this incident occurred at a, quote, private residence and allegedly involved several current and former students from CMS. The specific school was not named. Parents at Butler High School said CMS hasn't made them aware of any investigation, and that has many upset tonight.
I need CMS and Butler High School to come out and tell us what they're doing our kids' days.
And CMPD said the investigation is still very much in its early stages and more information will be released at a later date. Reporting live uptown, Alexa Ashwell, Channel 9 Eyewitness News at 10.
And we will stay on top of this story as police further their investigation, keeping you updated on air and online at WSOC-TV.com. A Davidson native continuing his run on Dancing with the Stars.
Turtle power.
Channel 9 spoke with members of his family about his rise to fame and why he almost never took the dance floor.
As if 5 straight days of off and on rain isn't enough, I'm tracking a new tropical depression east of the Bahamas. I'll show you where that's forecast to go.
"15-year-old Davidson native Hayes Greer survived another week on Dancing with the Stars. His family says that Hayes is shy, but tonight he came out of his shell, as you see there, with a performance to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He's got it. Tonight, Greer's family spoke exclusively to Channel 9. Eyewitness News anchor Scott Wickersham reveals what his family says Hayes was like when he was younger and what they're hoping that he learns from his time on the West Coast.
While Hayes Greer is dancing with the stars in L.A., his father Chad and stepmother Nyla back in Charlotte feel like it was just yesterday that all 3 Greer brothers were still young boys.
Life got very different for us pretty fast. I mean, it feels like yesterday that they were on that computer right there making funny videos just for us and being silly around the house.
Being silly in videos launched Nash and Hayes into fame on social media. The oldest son, Will, is a quarterback at the University of Florida. Now, Hayes grew up around football. His dad, a coach. The boys played, but his stepmom says he was not always outgoing.
He would hide behind Chad if we were at a football game or whatever with the other boys. So to see him come out of his shell is incredible.
And now, with Hayes in Los Angeles and his brother Nash, too, pursuing an acting career, Dad has to fly cross-country for a family dinner.
I went to L.A. and had lunch with the boys.
Chad said Hayes wasn't sure he would try Dancing with the Stars.
He was reticent. It was a hard decision for him to make. It wasn't like, oh, yeah, I'm excited, I'm going to go do this. I mean, I think he really had to think about it. And I think, Hayes was nervous about it. He was not sure that he could do it.
And the 15-year-old is doing it while also taking 3 hours of school lessons every day. Chad talks to him most days. They text each other, too. He's not sure his son will win, but he says that's not the point.
If he wins it, good for him. That'd be awesome. But I think the bigger thing is just to continue to grow as a young man and use this as an opportunity to, start pursuing and fulfilling dreams and goals.
Scott Wickersham, Channel 9 Eyewitness News at 10.
And Channel 9 has been following the journey that Hayes has gone on appearing on the show. Remember, you can find updates on our Twitter page and post comments as well under the hashtag DWTS on 9. And don't forget to vote for Hayes and his partner, Emma Slater. Corneliustown officials are looking to improve water lines in some neighborhoods that have newer, bigger homes. The homes near Belle Isle off of John Connor Road are on a peninsula, and the fire department says it means that the water lines dead end and that the water pressure there is lower. Because these homes are bigger than in the past, the pressure actually needs to be stronger to better fight fires.
Homes have tripled and quadrupled in size, so if there ever were a fire situation, there would definitely need to be a lot of water here quickly.
The town manager now plans to meet with Charlotte Water to look at some options. Officials say this is a proactive measure. There have been no devastating fires in that area recently. New tonight, Charlotte City Council just approved a spending plan to fix almost half of the bridges throughout the city. The city plans to spend nearly $2.8 million to repair and update them. It all comes after the city started to inspect the bridges back in the spring to make sure that they're safe and structurally sound. Transportation officials have not released a timeline on when construction will begin. Engineers in the Boone area say it could take weeks to clean up a 20-foot retaining wall that collapsed after this weekend's heavy rain. Mud and asphalt slid just feet from businesses along Blowing Rock Road, right next to the busy 321-221 intersection. Business owners began moving items out just in case the rest of that wall comes down too.
I don't think you can take chances. You never know how far the wall is going to fall forward.
Now, the rain is expected to keep coming into the mountains, and engineers say that could force them to even replace the parts of the wall that weren't damaged this weekend. Well, our chief meteorologist Steve Butelson has details on how much rain we've gotten so far.
Erica, not everyone has seen the same amounts. Clearly, the mountains and areas north and west of Charlotte have seen more than Uptown, which has had about an inch of rain, close to 2 inches up in the University area. But how about Boone? Half a foot of rain. Morganton, about 5 inches. Same for Boiling Springs and Chimney Rock. That's enough to cause localized flooding, and that may go on for a while longer because there's more rain in the forecast. Nothing terribly heavy, but any additional rain in the high country could bring on more flooding. Tracking some light rain pushing out of Cabarrus and Union County right into Charlotte. That's pushing west at about 15 miles an hour. Arriving in Uptown now, Pineville about 10:40, Belmont about 11, Rock Hill about 11:15, Iron Station by 11:25. It's light rain. It'll be out by the time you get out tomorrow morning, but low clouds and drizzle and fog will once again greet you. Look at these temperatures. Pretty warm for late September. Upper 60s to near 70 in most of the Charlotte area. Mid 60s up around I-40, Statesville and Hickory, and in the 50s up across the high country. Wake up forecast, I wish it would be this beautiful. We have more clouds and drizzle and fog on the way. Low upper 60s, 20% chance of rain. Sun up not until almost 7:15. By 9 a.m., still more clouds around and drizzle. Temperatures around 70s. How about breaking this pattern? Futurecast has most of the rain tomorrow north and west of Charlotte. That's especially out across the high country where a couple of more inches of rain will fall, especially along the spine of the Appalachians. And then as we head through the afternoon, things begin to dry out for just about everyone. As far as temperatures go, we're talking about mid-70s by lunchtime and in the upper 70s. As we head through tomorrow afternoon, wouldn't be surprised south and east of Charlotte to see readings close to or a little above 80. On Wednesday, cold front comes by. There'll be some showers around, not as many as tomorrow, and then things will begin to wind down after that. But between now and then, an inch or more of rain forecast for the mountains between this now and this time Wednesday night, about a half an inch of rain for the Charlotte area. Meanwhile, out in the Atlantic, a new tropical depression, the 11th of the season. Top winds are 35 miles per hour. It is forecast to remain off of our coast. Important because we don't need any more unsettled weather. That may be a problem up the coast, however. Upper 60s in the mountains tomorrow, good chance for some rain, and it may fall fairly heavily at times. Mid-70s I-40 corridor and closer to 80, at least upper 70s in and around the Charlotte area. My 5-day forecast, upper 70s again on Wednesday. Maybe the risk of a shower or a storm as that cold front comes in. After that, some leftover clouds Thursday and Friday, but we will dry things out. That'll be the trend as we hit the weekend.
Okay, so as we get closer to people doing outside activities.
It's getting a little better.
A little bit better.
Maybe some lawn cutting by then.
We'll need it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steve. Remember, you can download our free WSOC Wake Up app. This is a great way to get your breaking news and weather updates first thing in the morning. WSOC Wake Up app features live streaming newscasts, your traffic updates, and you can connect with WSOC-TV on Facebook. Now, this app offers a social alarm to help you get your day started. It's free to download for Apple and Android devices, and you can find it in the App Store and on Google Play. Some local volunteers are fixing up homes that shelter our area's children. The impact this is having on the kids in need. And drivers in North Carolina are spending more money on car repairs than almost anyone else in the country. How drivers themselves may be to blame for this and how you can avoid the higher bills. And part of a home damaged, debris laying right there on the ground after a car smashed into the house. The mistake the driver made right before the accident. Tonight, a driver is expected to be okay after crashing into this home in Rowan County. It happened earlier this evening on South Beaver Street in Landis. Investigators believe a woman in her mid-70s accidentally hit the gas pedal instead of the brake. They say she had just dropped off a friend across the street when this happened. A woman and her 3 children who live in that damaged house were not at home at the time. New at 10, UNC Charlotte hosted the first of several workshops to address what students told Channel 9 were some racial remarks made by staff members. 2 students told school officials that they overheard staff discussing the large number of black students in leadership roles on campus and the lack of involvement by white students. The school says it takes this seriously and wants to make sure that the campus is diverse.
We have taken one step back to move 2 steps forward. So we're going to use this as a learning process.
School officials say they met with the staff involved, but they won't discuss the outcome. Tomorrow, a teach-in is planned on the steps of the student union there. Gastonia police are out looking for a man they say ran over a woman who was helping to build a case against him. Gennaro Starks faces 2 counts of attempted murder. Police say he drove onto the sidewalk on Gaston Avenue, hitting Cindy Dorn and her fiance. Dorn is helping the police with an investigation into Starks. A Gaston County police officer happened to be nearby and witnessed the attack.
People just aren't paying attention while driving it, and then they're not wearing their seatbelt, which results in additional injuries or subsequently getting killed out here.
Dorn is in serious condition. Her fiance is expected to be okay. Police are still looking for Gennaro Starks.
More than 600 volunteers are taking time to fix up homes that shelter some of our area's most vulnerable children.
It's emotional just knowing that God brings in the right people at the right time.
How these upgrades will help give these children a brighter future for years to come.
Plus, 2 young sisters fighting for their lives after their family's SUV crashed on their way to a pageant. The new information about their recovery and what their father is saying about the accident.
Now, from the news team that's covering the Carolinas, this is Channel 9 Eyewitness News at 10:30.
After a rainy start to your work week, we are tracking more wet weather moving in for your day tomorrow. Good evening, everyone. I'm Erica Bryant. The misty rain that fell for much of the day is sticking around. Our chief meteorologist Steve Udelson pinpointing what you can expect when you walk out the door tomorrow. Steve?
Yeah, Erica, and don't get us wrong. I mean, the rain is a great thing in the middle of a drought, but if you're going to have 5 straight days of rain, make it rain. I mean, this mist is really not going to help out much. In fact, we've got a second surge of moisture coming out of the Gulf that's going to help keep things going into tomorrow. As far as right now, the only very light rain I'm tracking is now pushing across Mecklenburg County, and it is real light stuff. Pineville, Marvin will see the rain in the next few minutes. Mountain Island Lake a little before 11. Belmont a little bit after, and toward Lake Wiley by about 11:20. And again, for the rest of us, just some mist, some drizzle. Visibilities are starting to drop now down to 4 miles in Charlotte, 3 in Statesville, so the fog is beginning, as we had forecast, to thicken up. Futurecast suggests not much more in the way of rain overnight tonight, just waves of light rain. By mid-morning tomorrow, the bulk of it is going to be west of I-77 into the foothills and the mountains. That's where the bulk of the rain will be tomorrow. As far as the wake-up forecast, first thing tomorrow morning, we're talking about temperatures in the upper 60s, and for the most part, cloudy skies with periods of drizzle and fog. Erica?
Thanks, Steve. Now, we'll continue to track this rain for you overnight. Channel 9 will have your complete forecast tomorrow morning on daybreak starting at 4:30 a.m. Tonight, a local community is organizing a benefit for these 2 young sisters. They were thrown from their family's SUV when it crashed on Saturday morning. 11-year-old Tori Walsh and her 3-year-old sister Jenny are in critical condition tonight. Eyewitness News reporter Blake Hansen found out that both young girls had surgery today.
She's a sweetheart. It's heartbreaking.
Today, countless friends, family, and members of the pageant community across America simply want these 2 girls and their mother to pull through. I talked to Savannah Courtney by phone, who knows Tori through pageants.
She's the sweetest, most outgoing little girl I've ever known.
Troopers say 11-year-old Tori, her 3-year-old sister Ginny, and mother Rebecca were headed to a pageant Saturday morning when the SUV overcorrected, entered the median, and rolled 3 times at 60 miles per hour. It threw both girls out of the vehicle. Both were taken to Levine Children's in critical condition. Today, Courtney gave us this photo of her and Tori volunteering at the same hospital just months ago.
I think it's going to be really hard because the last time I saw her, you know, she was just so, you know, sweet, and, you know, she's the cutest little girl, and so it's definitely going to be really hard.
Today, for the first time, we heard from the family. The girl's father texted me to say, "I want to thank everyone for the prayers and well wishes. It has been a comfort to our family."
I just think it's such an awful thing, and that any amount or anything would help. Just the prayers. They appreciate everything.
Blake Hansen, Channel 9 Eyewitness News at 10.
Now, dozens have left their thoughts and prayers for the young Walsh sisters and their family on our WSOC-TV Facebook page, and you can too. For updates on their condition, follow this story on our WSOC Twitter page. A march will be held on Wednesday to honor a domestic violence victim who police say was killed by her ex. Investigators say Kevin Connor shot Judith Causey earlier this month on Mount Holly Huntersville Road in northwest Charlotte. They say Connor also shot Causey's current boyfriend, Gerald Kidd Jr., before then taking his own life. Now, Kidd survived the shooting and was rushed to the hospital. The march on Wednesday is meant to bring awareness about domestic violence and the programs to help victims. It'll be held at the Square at Trade and Tryon, Uptown Charlotte, starting at 12:15 in the afternoon. Homicides tied to domestic violence are on the rise in Mecklenburg County, so WSOC-TV and the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department are partnering to bring you an in-depth look at this issue and to connect the community's resources to the women, children, and men who need them. 9 Investigate Stand Up to Domestic Violence will air on Tuesday, October 6th at 7 p.m. on Channel 9. We hope you'll make plans to watch and be a part of this important effort. Democratic mayoral candidate Dan Clodfelter got a key endorsement today. He's hoping to turn that into votes in next week's runoff election. City Councilman David Howard, who came in third in the primary, says he is endorsing Clodfelter. Howard says he talked with both Clodfelter and the top vote getter, Jennifer Roberts, before making his decision. Now he's hoping that the 7,000 voters who supported him will now turn out for Clodfelter in the runoff.
I've made it clear to the mayor and his team where I can be helpful over the next week. I'm being more than willing to do that. I would suspect we'll probably show up at some churches this weekend.
Howard says he feels Mayor Clodfelter more closely shares his vision for transportation, jobs, and development on the east and west sides. 5 more early voting locations for the Democratic runoff will open across Charlotte tomorrow. We've got a list of those at WSOC-TV.com. Look for a link under the News tab. The man who fired shots that hurt a teenager near South Park Mall will now spend 90 days in jail. Diamante Williams told a judge this morning that he had never been in a courtroom before he was arrested back in January for shooting a teen during a fight on Sharon Road. The bullets grazed the teen. Williams pleaded guilty today, and as part of the plea deal, he'll serve 3 months in jail and then probation. There is an investigation tonight into how a 20-year-old Appalachian State student died. Police say John Bunch IV was found dead Friday afternoon. No indications of foul play. During the past year, the school has dealt with several student deaths after overdoses, suicides, and car accidents. New tonight, a North Carolina police force is training officers to use words, not weapons, to calm tension when dealing with the public. The Orange County Sheriff's Office is calling this verbal judo. Getting into a verbal argument with the public is one of their biggest fears. Now a trainer is helping them safely engage with citizens even when they're under attack.
They're cursed at, they're called out of their name, their integrity is challenged, their competence is challenged. Any way that people could insult another person.
Departments across the country have tried to improve community relations after several high-profile, deadly officer-involved shootings. Here in Charlotte, CMPD paired up with North Carolina local barbers to tell community members about their rights and what to do when they encounter police. They also have held community unity rallies. A local nonprofit that helps vulnerable children across our area is getting a lot of help from a local company this week. Hundreds of Lowe's volunteers are remodeling homes for foster children in Iredell County. All new tonight, Eyewitness News reporter Brittany Johnson got an inside look at the upgrades.
Today, volunteers are painting, they're adding new lighting, making major upgrades to children's homes of Iredell County. This week, more than 600 volunteers will put in work at 5 homes like this to show foster children someone cares. Jennifer Cowan's dreary Monday was instantly brightened by the sight of volunteers switching out locks and lights at this home for foster children.
It's emotional just knowing that God brings in the right people at the right time.
Cowan says they were accumulating a growing list of needed repairs when Brian McDonald called, offering big help through the Lowe's Heroes Project.
Helping the house parents and the children love where they live, it's probably not the ideal situation, but why not make it as enjoyable as possible?
Each year, dozens of boys and girls walk through these doors when their homes are no longer safe.
Abuse, neglect.
And Cowan says the need is growing. Advocates say there are about 15,000 kids in state care, but they expect to add another 10,000 by the end of the year.
I hope that this lets them know that we care about them, not only about their well-being, but we care about where they live.
Upgrades, including these new locks, will help the organization save about $12,000 in cost each year, money that will go back into the pot to help the area's growing number of foster children. In Iredell County, Brittany Johnson, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Now we have a breakdown of how a new security system and other repairs save energy costs at the children's home. You can find out more about the cost saving and Lowe's Heroes projects inside Brittany's story at WSOC-TV.com. There's a new health alert tonight from Carolina's Medical Center. The center confirms to Channel 9 that it treated a patient with scabies, a skin rash that's caused by a mite. Officials tell us the rash can be passed by skin-to-skin contact, and they're informing staff and patients about potential exposure. No one else has reported the rash just yet. They say it can be treated with a topical cream. New tonight, for the first time in 2 years, President Obama met face-to-face with Russian President Vladimir Putin. The two nations are at polar opposites on multiple issues, even including which nation called for the meeting. The White House says the talk focused on Russian troops encroaching on the border of Ukraine, but the Kremlin says that Syria's civil war was the focal point.
When a dictator slaughters tens of thousands of his own people, that is not just a matter of one nation's internal affairs.
But Putin says that he will stand with the Assad and his regime. Pope Francis is back at the Vatican tonight after his historic trip to the U.S. He left last night after celebrating Mass for hundreds of thousands of people in downtown Philadelphia for the World Meeting of Families. The event was the original reason for his U.S. trip. Before that, he was in Washington, D.C., where he addressed a joint Congress, and also in New York, where he spoke to the UN. Eyewitness News anchor John Paul was there in Philadelphia for the Pope's Mass, and you can see the videos, pictures, and coverage of the Pope's trip to the city of brotherly love by going to WSOC-TV.com. Car repairs costing drivers in North Carolina more than almost anywhere else in the country, and Action 9 found out that drivers may be to blame.
I see you smiling. Are you guilty of that?
Yes.
The mistake that many drivers are making and what you can do to keep your bills down.
Fresh and about 600 miles east of the Florida coast. I'll show you where it's forecast to go and if it'll bring us any more rain.
Drivers in North Carolina are spending more on car repairs compared to most other states. According to a new study, we ranked 6th worst in the nation. Researchers say mechanics not only charge more, drivers could be partly to blame for this. Action 9 investigator Jason Stujenki has the cost breakdown.
Tamara Parker admits it.
Are you guilty of that?
Yes.
She says the check engine light comes on and she ignores it as long as she can.
I guess it's just me. It's just me. I put it off.
So do Foster York's friends.
They just wait until the last minute. Wait until the last minute to do everything.
And CarMD says North Carolinians pay for it, literally. It's an organization that claims to help people lower the cost of owning a vehicle, and more well-known groups like Carfax rely on CarMD's research.
It's a lot more affordable and safer to get that check engine light fixed soon when it first comes on than the snowball effect of lots of things going wrong.
The most common example in North Carolina and elsewhere is this: spark plugs and oxygen sensors. When those go, it's roughly a $250 fix, but let the problem go longer, and drivers end up needing work on catalytic converters, which could cost more than $1,000.
Do you ever kick yourself afterwards for having put it off and say, man, I should have taken care of this right from the start, it would have been cheaper?
Very much so.
So bottom line, if you can afford it, don't put off minor repairs and routine maintenance. Jason Stujanki, Channel 9 Eyewitness News at 10.
And as we mentioned, North Carolina ranked 6th worst in the country. Drivers here spend an average of $430 for each repair. South Carolina ranked 21st worst. Drivers there spending an average of $410 per repair. For a closer look at this report, go to the Action 9 page on WSOC-TV.com. A new study shows that North Carolina is the 2nd worst state for teachers in the entire country. The website Wallet Hub looked at a number of factors, including starting average salary and income growth among the 50 states and the District of Columbia. And North Carolina came out at number 50. South Carolina, not much better, ranking 45. The worst in the country is West Virginia. The best state for teachers, according to this report, is Massachusetts. Now, the biggest issue is the teacher pay issue. North Carolina ranks 40th in the average starting salary, which according to the North Carolina Public Schools website stands at $35,000. But even for an experienced teacher, the news is still not very good. North Carolina stands at 49th when it comes to a 10-year change in teacher salaries. After working for 10 years in North Carolina, a teacher will take home around $40,000 a year. We put the full report at WSOC-TV.com so you can see how other states rank. You can find it on our homepage. City leaders also approved a nearly $8 million contract for upgrades at Charlotte Douglas Airport. The money going toward redesigning Concourse A and adding 9 new gates. The first phase of a much larger plan to upgrade the airport. Airport leaders tell Channel 9 that much of this work will be behind the scenes and that travelers will not be inconvenienced. Tonight, drought experts are going through the latest numbers to see how the weekend rain is impacting our drought situation. Many locations in our area picked up over 2 inches of rain, but our team of meteorologists says this is not enough. Some local areas could soon go under some mandatory restrictions.
You just can't go out here and go wasteful because you wind up and pump your wheel dry if you do.
Some good news, though. Much of the weekend rain fell in the mountains, and that should boost the Catawba and Yadkin rivers. Well, our chief meteorologist Steve Udelson is tracking what's left of the rain out there. Steve?
Yeah, okay, it's not much. Patches of light rain in and around Charlotte continues to scoot west at about 15 miles an hour. Temperatures are warm. It is very muggy outside. If you're looking for a silver lining, at least it's warmer than it was yesterday, about 4 or 5 notches. That makes it feel a little bit better when you're outside. It won't, however, at the bus stop first thing tomorrow morning. We'll be around 70. There'll be some drizzle, and especially watch out for that fog early tomorrow morning. Sunup is until almost 7:15. A lot of kids will already be picked up by their bus at that point, so beware on those secondary roads. Futurecast tomorrow keeps most of the rain just north and west of Charlotte through about lunchtime. You saw shades of yellow and orange. That's some fairly hefty rain, especially out across the mountains. We've already seen 4 to 6 inches of rain, and then that rain will taper off for everyone as we head through tomorrow afternoon. So temperatures again around 70 early on will rise to the mid-70s by lunchtime with again some light rain or drizzle and just leftover clouds by 5 o'clock and maybe even some brightening skies for some of us. Temperatures at that point will be in the upper 70s. So the biggest issues tomorrow on our threat tracker, the drizzle, the mist, the patches of fog early on in the morning. I can't rule out a stray rumble of thunder, especially south and east of Charlotte, and that assumes the clouds thin out a little bit. But really, it's more about the off and on drizzle and mist. Now, the good news is things will dry out some as we head through late Thursday, Friday, and on into the upcoming weekend. So while we still have a few more days of this pattern, there is at least an end in sight. Meanwhile, out in the Atlantic, and this is the 11 o'clock advisory in a little bit early, Tropical Storm Joaquin has formed. Top winds are 40 miles per hour. The storm is just meandering off to the southwest at about 5-6 miles an hour, just east of the Bahamas. Here's the latest forecast track. It continues to push toward the northwest, paralleling the Carolina coast. It will likely just graze east of the Outer Banks as we head through Friday night, but notice the wind speeds picking up a little bit, 55, 65 mile per hour winds, and then that storm will scoot north toward the mid-Atlantic or northeast coast as we head into the weekend. As far as the Carolinas go, most of the rain from that system, if it holds its current track, would be well east of the Charlotte area. Upper 60s to near 70 in the mountains tomorrow. Good chance of some showers, and some of them may be fairly heavy. Mid-70s along the I-40 corridor. In and around the Charlotte area, afternoon highs tomorrow, forecasting upper 70s to near 80. My 5-day forecast, upper 70s again on Wednesday. Scattered showers, maybe the crack of thunder with a cold front coming in. And a look ahead through late week, and with the weekend always in view, yes, even on a Monday, we're looking at about 70 degrees and a fair amount of sun both days. Again, Joaquin will stay to our east. We'll keep an eye on the track.
Yeah, we need the rain, but something to look forward to there on the weekend.
That's right.
All right, we'll be right back.
It's Victory Monday for the Panthers, which means the team had the day off. However, the front office was busy bolstering a depleted defensive line with the addition of 12-year veteran Jared Allen. The Panthers trade a future 6th-round draft pick to Chicago for Allen. Allen has 5 tackles and 1 interception this season, returning to a 4-3 style scheme on defense with Carolina, hopefully bringing pressure to opposing quarterbacks, an area where the Panthers lack, especially without Charles Johnson. Head coach Ron Rivera says Johnson will miss this week's game versus Tampa Bay due to a severe hamstring strain. Luke Kuechly was on the sidelines of yesterday's game and is a step away from clearing concussion protocol. Coach Rivera says that Kuechly still needs to get clearance from an independent neurologist and could be back on the practice field on Wednesday. The Panthers are off to their best start since 2003 at 3-0, stemming from Cam Newton's play. Newton continues to progress and show why he is in fact the franchise quarterback Coach Rivera expects him to be. He threw for over 300 yards and ran for a score since his improvement through training camp. Captain Ron says it's satisfying to watch his young quarterback grow.
One of the dirty words in coaching is potential. And, you know, with Cam, it's always been a matter of growth and time, and we're seeing it. Now we're seeing the fruits of the labors of our quarterback coach and our coordinator.
And we can throw for 300, and then, you know, he runs for a touchdown, he converts a couple third downs with his legs. Those are game-changing plays.
A little drama between Newton and veteran ref Ed Hockley. Cam complained about being hit out of bounds late in the fourth quarter and thought there should have been a penalty. Cam said Hockley told him he wasn't old enough to get the call. Hockley denies the remark.
Did he miss the call? If he would have said he missed the call, okay, that's one thing. But for his response to be what it was, I'm not old enough to get that call. Jeez, heaven forbid he gets any rookies. You know, they're going to have a long day, man, for that flag not to be called. You know, it's highly phrased. I'm ticked off, really.
The high school football season is marching right along. Now it's time for you to cast your vote for High School Football Extra's Game of the Week. The matchups are Charlotte Christian versus Charlotte Latin and A.L. Brown and Vance. Log on to sports on WSOC-TV.com to cast your vote. 3-time champion Tony Stewart announces that he will be retiring from Sprint Cup Series racing following the 2016 season. A press conference is scheduled for Wednesday where Stewart Haas Racing will also announce that Clint Boyer will take over for Stewart beginning in 2017. Stewart has 48 career cup wins in his 17-year career. So touted career, 17 years. I guess time to hang him up. Why not?
That's a long time.
Announcement
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Lawrence.
No problem.
Steve?
We've got some more rain overnight tonight. Showers pushing through the Charlotte area now. Pretty light, but boy, that's been the case the last couple of days. Meanwhile, out in the Atlantic, a new tropical storm, that is Joaquin, forecast to stay east of the Carolinas, but it's not over yet. We'll keep a close eye on that for you as that storm continues to push up along the coast.
Glad you're watching it for us. Thank you for making Channel 9 at 10 your choice for news. We'll see you tomorrow.